In 1964, a small startup sold just $8,000 worth of shoes and made barely $240 in profit. Less than 60 years later, that same company would generate over $30 billion in annual sales. This is the story of Nike, and the man who built it, Phil Knight. But Nike wasn't born powerful. It was born confused, broke, betrayed, and nearly destroyed more than once. Phil Knight didn't start out as a visionary billionaire. He started out lost. After studying journalism at the University of Oregon, Phil trained as a middle-distance runner under legendary track coach Bill Bowerman. The two formed a close bond, one that would later change sports forever. But at 24, Phil had to face the truth. He wasn't good enough to become a professional athlete. He enlisted in the Army. It didn't help. He returned frustrated, unsure of his purpose, and eventually enrolled at Stanford Business School. That's where everything changed. At Stanford, Phil was assigned to create a hypothetical business. His idea was simple, but radical. What if Japanese running shoes could do to German shoes what Japanese cameras did to German cameras? At the time, Adidas and Puma dominated the American market. But Phil had noticed Japan was producing high-quality products at lower costs. The class didn't buy it. Neither did his friends. But Phil couldn't let it go. In 1962, broke and living with his parents, Phil decided to stop waiting for opportunity and create it. He traveled the world, Europe, Asia, Greece, Hawaii, then he went to Japan. In the city of Kobe, Phil discovered a running shoe brand called Onitsuka Tiger. The shoes were good and affordable. With zero experience, Phil cold-called the company and somehow secured a meeting. There was just one problem. When asked who he represented, Phil panicked, so he made something up. Blue Ribbon Sports, Portland, Oregon, it didn't exist. Yet. Onitsuka liked Phil. They needed a U.S. distributor. They agreed to ship him samples. Months passed. Nothing arrived. Phil assumed he'd been scammed. Then one day, 12 pairs of shoes appeared at his doorstep. Phil rushed to show them to Bill Bowerman. Bowerman loved them, so much that he offered to become Phil's business partner. Each invested $500. They ordered 300 pairs of shoes, and in 1964, Blue Ribbon Sports officially began. No stores would carry their shoes, so Phil sold them himself. Out of the trunk of his car at track meets, they sold out in 3 months. By the end of year one, $8,000 in revenue. Not impressive, but real. They reinvested everything. Blue Ribbon grew fast. Retail stores opened. Sales reps were hired. Bowerman redesigned shoes constantly. By 1969, one model, the Cortez, became the best-selling running shoe in America. Revenue passed $300,000. But behind the scenes, trouble was brewing. Onitsuka began delaying shipments, ignoring design feedback, and secretly meeting other distributors. Then came the ultimatum: sell us 51% of your company, or we replace you. Phil refused. That was the moment everything changed. Phil and Bowerman made a terrifying decision. They would stop distributing someone else's brand and build their own. They needed a name. Dimension 6 was rejected. Then an employee suggested a name from a dream: Nike, the Greek goddess of victory. Phil wasn't sold, but time was running out, so Nike it was. A design student created a logo for $35. The Swoosh. Onitsuka sued, Nike countersued. They eventually split permanently. In 1971, Blue Ribbon Sports became Nike. Sales exploded. By 1977, $28 million. By the early 80s, hundreds of millions. Then, disaster struck. Nike received a bill from U.S. Customs, $25 million owed. The reason? Competitors like Converse lobbied to enforce an ancient import law, charging Nike massive retroactive duties. It could have killed the company. Phil fought for 3 brutal years. Nike settled for $9 million. By then, sales had reached $440 million. They survived again. Nike went public. Phil became wealthy. Early believers became millionaires. But in the 1990s, Nike's reputation collapsed. Reports exposed sweatshops, child labor, and worker abuse in overseas factories. Protests erupted worldwide. Sales fell, stock dropped. Phil admitted mistakes and promised reform. Nike spent years repairing its image, with mixed results. The controversy never fully disappeared. Nike did something few brands dared to do. They leaned into controversy. From Just Do It to Colin Kaepernick, Nike consistently chose bold cultural positioning, even when it risked backlash. The result? More attention, more loyalty, more sales. Nike didn't just sell shoes, they sold identity. Phil Knight stepped down after 4 decades, from a confused graduate to a man who built the most powerful sports brand on earth. Nike's story isn't clean, it isn't perfect, but it proves one thing. You don't need certainty to begin. You just need the courage to start. Or as Nike put it, just do it.